The above variance are useful for applying function across any object. We'll consider two variants of the special class of functions, apply and t-apply. We'll also look at apply function. I'm going to start by loading a new dataset, website revenue for the month of businesses. This will argument all stored in this comma separate by the user. The data in this data matrix has been stored this way. File of the data, so I'm going to read it in using read_delim. To keep things simple, let's focus on three variables: wheels, conditions, and total price. The t_apply function is similar to the apply function in that it helps aggregate data efficiently. For instance, we could examine the sum of all of the total prices of auctions that were new and used separately by providing the vector for the total price as the first argument, the vector for the conditions as the second, and then the sum function as the third. Just like in apply, the third argument for the t_apply function is another function to be applied across the data. However, in this case, the function is applied to each group, where the groups are specified by the second argument, which in this case is the condition of the game. I'm going to modify this command a little bit since it makes more sense to look at the average price of the game. As you might have anticipated, the games that are new tend to sell for more than the games that are used. Here, the difference is about $10. There's a second important variable in this application that relates to the price: the number of steering wheels that come with the game in the auction. These steering wheels are a game accessory that make playing Mario Kart a bit more fun. Let's look at the average price of the auctions with different numbers of wheels included. As you might expect, we again see a steady increase in price associated with having more wheels included in the auction, about $6 to $10 per wheel. Now, there's something interesting to think about here. If I consider the influence of both price and the number of wheels simultaneously, what will this do to the estimated cost of a new game versus a used game, and also the cost of an extra wheel? A table to look at the average price across each of the combinations of condition and wheels can be made using the t_apply function. To do this, I'm going to provide the data frame with just the condition and the wheels columns as the second argument. Some of these numbers look a little bit surprising. For instance, going from no wheels to one wheel doesn't seem to influence the price when the game is new. If we dig in a little more, Here, using the length function in place of the mean function, I can see that one of the groups had very few observations, and so this average is probably less reliable, and this might explain the difference. If I was going to continue this analysis, I'd probably look into this some more. One last function before we wrap up. The by function is a variant of the tapply function, but by default, it returns a vector of the results. Note that when it is printed, it won't really look like a vector, though you could access the elements just as if it was a vector. In the next video, we'll take a look at three functions: with, within, and aggregate.